Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about the Fisheries of Gloucester. But before we do, we just want to remind you to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. We have a lot of vlogs, top 10s. Sometimes we even do some skits. So you want to make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of it. So, Fisheries of Gloucester is designed by Stephen Finn and it is published by Dr. Finn's Games.
Alright, this is a 2-player only game where you are competitively fishing, trying to get as many fish as possible so you can preserve them, get some special abilities, and maximize your points. Let me give you a quick overview of how to play. Alright, here's our setup for the Fisheries of Gloucester. So basically what's going to happen is we're going to be gaining and spending hours to complete actions while we're fishing. So at the start of the game, the first player is going to get 6 hours in their day, and then the other player is going to get 7 hours in their day. We have some starting tiles. We've kind of a small and then a medium-sized one. And we also have a whole pool of ones that we'll be getting over the course of the game. We're going to be kind of laying out, kind of making our paths to our different fish. We also have all of our different kinds of requirements that we're trying to build towards. These are all different scoring opportunities that we're basically going to catch our fish and then turn those fish in for those cards in order to get points and maybe some special abilities as well. The game is going to be 6 rounds. We're going to start by flipping over this card over here. It's going to tell us some more tiles that we can get. In this case, each player is going to get one of these small ones and one of these larger ones and add to our supply. Now we're going to start taking our actions. There are 4 different actions that we can take on our turn. Some of the actions cost us hours that we're going to spend on our track. Some actions are free. So we can lay out paths in front of us that's actually going to be free. And any player can use these paths. So if we're the green player, we might do something like this for our first action. And then our opponent's going to have an opportunity to take a turn. And now on our second turn, maybe we actually move across the water. So when we're moving across the water, each open water space on the tiles that we just built takes 1 hour per square. But we have also the rough water spots as well. Those cost 2 hours to go through. And if we're ever crossing through an area where there's another opponent's boat, that's going to cost us 2 hours as well. We can finish on the rough waters. We cannot finish where there's an opponent. So you still have to pay to get through them, but then you can land somewhere else. So let's say we wanted to move up here. It would cost us 1, 2, 3, 4 actions. We would move our time down that much. And now we have the opportunity to fish. You can fish from any square on the entire board, but what's going to happen is it takes 1 hour per fish that you get, and it has to be from orthogonally or adjacent position on one of your boats. All right, so for 1 hour, we can spend that hour in order to get this fish and put it on our board. Now, we already have that green ship way out there. It'd be really tempting, too, to just keep on adding more paths in order to get these fish over here. However, we have a fleet rule. This fleet rule says that you can only advance as far as your farthest back ship is, plus 3 spots. So, in order to get that ship moved out there further, we would have to move these 2 green ones farther out there so that we can move this to match up with it and kind of give us a range of how far we can advance. We only have 1 hour left, but we can still lay out some paths ahead of us, getting ready for a future round. And remember, these are free to do. Each one of those tiles would be an action, but then once we are done with our actions, what we can do is if we are the first one done with our actions, we can take this card, and we can either choose for the next round to be the first player and get 6 hours, or to be the second player and get 7 hours. In this case, let's go ahead and be the second player and get 7 hours. With our 1 left over, that gives us a total of 8 to work with the next round. And of course, don't forget, our opponent would be doing things as well, building paths out there, trying to fish, all those kinds of things. At the beginning of the next round, though, we're going to flip over another card. We're going to take some more tiles based off whatever it says. So again, charting a course, which is laying out the tiles, that is a free action, does not cost any hours. Sailing your boat, it costs 1 hour per square, plus an extra hour if you're going through the rough waters or where there's an opponent's boat there. But you can do that all as one action. Fishing costs 1 hour per fish that you get. The last action is called preserving fish, and preserving fish is when you claim one of these cards. There's going to be a lot of different parameters, and based off how difficult that is, you're going to get various rewards. So for instance, this one's easy. This is just saying turning 1 black fish. If you do that, you're going to get 2 extra time, 2 extra hours, which is great, plus that little kind of steering wheel symbol, that is worth 1 victory point. But a little further down here, we have more complicated ones. This one says, if you turn in 3 fish that are all the same color, it's worth 5 victory points. This preservation action you can only do once per round, so it's kind of important that you figure out which one's the most optimal one for you to get some special abilities, which maximizing your points, all those kinds of considerations. You also might notice on the board there are some islands that have those same steering wheel symbols on them. At the end of the game, if you are able to land one of your boats onto one of those islands, you're going to get that many points at the end of the game as well. At the end of the sixth and final round, you're going to add up all your points from your preservation cards, plus wherever your boats are, and whoever has the most points wins the game. One thing I want to mention is each player starts the game with a little lobster token, a little lobster meeple, which is adorable and hilarious, by the way. But over the course of the game, a lot of your actions are going to set up your opponent. So you might lay out some water, but then on their turn, they might use that water to get to fish. So what you can do is once per game, you can spend that lobster in order to take 2 actions in a row. And that way, you can kind of set up your turn and then actually go fishing, or whatever the case is, in order to maximize your points, maximize your fish, whatever the case is. This board is pre-printed, but on the other side, it's a blank board. What you can actually do is you can add in your own island tiles and your own rough water tiles to kind of randomize and make your own custom board.
I thought it was so interesting how your movement was limited in this game. You could only go on open water, but you had to place those tiles before you could go there. And not just that, but there was also that progress track. So your boats had to all be next to each other. You couldn't have this one boat go all the way up there and get all this stuff. Nope, they all kind of had to move, and you had to place in order for all of them to move. So I thought the limitations on that made you have to think so much more strategically than just go out and get the fish.
The temptation of those preservation cards is a lot of fun. So you have opportunities to cash in your fish for points, but also sometimes special abilities. So sometimes you have to figure out, do I want to sacrifice a few points in order to get an extra little bit of movement, or maybe get some hours added onto my day? By the way, that'd be a fantastic special ability, like in everyday life. Like I would gladly give up some hours of pay at my work in order to get extra hours on the end of the day. Take a pay cut in order to get more hours.
I mean, you kind of do, because if you take a pay cut, it's because you're not working as many hours, and so you get those hours back for your life.
True.
So.
Touche.
Yeah, there is that.
But yeah, I like how you have the opportunity to score points, maybe, or get special abilities with a smaller amount of points, because you can only do one of those cards per round. So it's like a big question, like, what are you going to do about it? And that's so tempting to get for the points, but man, it's also so tempting to go for the special abilities.
Yeah.
I like that.
I also really liked those, I mentioned them earlier, but the water tiles. So it was kind of, not frustrating, but you had to really think about when you were going to play those, because inevitably the person you're playing against is going to use it against you. All the time. You get the same tiles. They get drafted and you're stuck with these tiles. You get the same thumbs. So you're working with the same things. But where your boats are, you want to get somewhere, and it's not going to happen because you need to go somewhere and they beat you to it. It's really frustrating. And I remember in the beginning when we were first playing the game, Ryan goes, is this going to be a game that I'm going to be mad at all the time? Because he would set something up and I would take it. But the thing is, the thing that is being done against you, you are also doing against your opponent. So it wasn't like you could never do what you wanted because of those water tiles and when you could place them. But you definitely need to be okay with your parade being rained on, because you will be raining on your opponent's parade.
That's right. I'm not sure if this is true of all editions, but the edition that we got did come with a couple of bonus things. So first of all, there was a little kind of a promo pack of cards for this game, and it was called the Fisherman's Feud. Basically, it gave you some special scoring opportunities, extra actions, things like that. It's a fun way to kind of mix up the gameplay, right? So you're not playing the same game every time. But actually, this game kind of already has a lot of replayability anyways. Yeah. This adds even more little extra things to think about. But another thing I want to mention is it also came with the Fisheries of Gloucester Express. This is not a promo pack. This is not anything else. This is a full game that just came inside the box of the other game. And it's just a little tiny, small little micro game, but it's its own 2-player game that's got similarities to the base game, but at the same time, it feels different. It shares some iconography, things like that, and obviously a theme, but overall, it's a different experience. So this one, we can actually take with us to like our coffee dates that we go on. It takes up a little bit of space on the table, but it's actually a good time. It's a lot of fun. It's extremely portable. And then when we're playing this game, this is something we can play when we're on our main table and when we play a 2-player game at home. So I like that we have both options. They do kind of feel different. It is different. I'm not sure how you can get this one other than in the deluxe edition or whatever, but it's super fun.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised when we played that game. Overall, I really like and enjoyed this game. I'm always impressed with Dr. Finn's games because he just seems to really understand getting a full game experience in like a short amount of time. Like there's just a certain skill set that needs to be met in order to keep pumping out and creating those specific games, and he just like gets it every single time to feel like you get a full long 2-hour experience in like a 30-minute time frame. So once again, job well done.
This is not a super sexy theme, right? This is not aliens or, space things or dragons or anything.
Aliens or space things.
The two so it's not one of those kinds of games, right? And this is a kind of a Euro-y theme. You're just fishing and you're going after this stuff. But the thing is, the theme matches the mechanisms really, really well in a way that it's easy to teach. The gameplay is extremely well balanced. Kind of like Bethany mentioned, Dr. Finn is a master at that. It's very well balanced. It feels like you're always going to be right there neck and neck with your opponent even if you have to take different strategies, different routes, or whatever the case is, you feel like you're right there in the mix no matter what you're doing. You're still having a good time. This is a fun game. I think it's I haven't seen it get talked about a lot, which is a shame. This is a game that needs to be talked about more because, like I said, it's not flashy in any way, but it's very satisfying and enjoyable.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Once again, don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. Until then, you can find us in all of these places.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye. And today we'll be talking about the Fisheries of Gloucester. This is a game. I'm all like discombobulated. This is a game. Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are the Fishers of Gloucester.
Well, that's the game we're going to be talking about for sure.
No, but we are the Fishers of the fisheries.
Oh. I don't like that.
Well, okay.
Like, they catch them and they eat them.
Who eats them?
The fishy people.